Again, Peter is imagining this moment when Jesus sees him. He's imagining how he wants Jesus to view him and how he wants Jesus to view us when Jesus first sees us. And he says that in this moment, I want you to be someone who is growing. I'm going to teach you guys two terms, okay? Two not biblical terms, two gym terms that you're going to need to know the next time you're chatting with somebody while you're deadlifting, okay? Now, these two terms are very important in lifting, okay? The first term we're going to talk about is a term called progressive overload. And progressive overloading is basically a technique which we use to trick your muscles into growing. Progressive overload is as simple as it sounds, is basically you're going to work out, you're going to do squats every day of every week of your life, and every week you're going to add 2.5 pounds onto the bar. To the point of in 2 years, in 3 years, you're going to be able to squat way more than you can squat now, right? Progressive overload is all about growing in those muscles by progressively adding more and more weight. Now, the people who do progressive overload are people who have goals. They show up at the gym and they say, you know what, dude? I got chicken legs, and I don't want no chicken legs anymore. I want big man legs. I want kangaroo legs, right? Came up, that's good. I want kangaroo legs, okay? What are we going to do then? I'm going to research the anatomy of my legs. I'm going to figure out all the different muscles that are in my leg. I'm going to research all the different exercises that I can do that are going to specifically exercise those muscles. And then I'm going to go to the gym and I'm going to add weight every single week to the bar, to the point of in several weeks, in several months, in several years, I'm going to be able to squat like a kangaroo, like a madman, okay? That's what progressive overloading is, all right? The other term I want to teach to you guys is what's called ego lifting, all right? Ego lifters also have a progression that they go through, all right? Ego lifters show up at the gym, they take off their shirt, they grab every single 45-pound plate that they can find in the gym, and they put it on the bars of the squat rack or whatever. They take an Instagram selfie. They do one rep, not a full rep, like a quarter of the way down, right? But it still counts. They take another selfie, and then they're on their way. They've done the gym, right? The reason why I bring these two up is because what differentiates progressive overload, the technique of progressive overloading, and the technique of an ego lifter is their goals. The goal of someone who wants to progressively overload is growth. They want to take a weakness, they want to take something that's not good in them, not up to par, and they want to make it better. The goal of an ego lifter is to feel good. They want to know that they accomplished something today. They want to know that they're seen as somebody who's accomplished something today. They want to know that they are a gym goer. They want to know that they are one of those guys that goes to the gym, right? And they want everyone else to perceive them in the same way. I hope you guys can see where this is going. When I say that the church is littered with ego lifters, people who come into the church with the goal of wanting to be a good person, with the goal of wanting to feel like a good person, with the goal of wanting to feel like they're doing what's right. And there's a whole other perspective that we could have when we approach a church, which is this idea of progressively overloading. The idea of coming into the church with the goal for growth. Now, the reason why people would choose to ego lift over progressively overloading their muscles, whether they be spiritual muscles or literal muscles, is because they don't want to have to admit that there's something weak in them. Because in order to focus on a weakness in such a way that makes it a strength, you have to acknowledge that it's there. And for a lot of us, we don't want to have to admit that there's something wrong in us, which would lead us to then being able to grow in that weakness. If there's one marker of a mature Christian, it's that they have mastered repentance. They've mastered repentance. They've mastered what it means to notice weaknesses in their life and to change their behavior because they recognize it as such. A lot of times we view mature Christians as the person who prays a ton, the person who knows the Bible backwards and forwards, the person who is on stage preaching. But what truly indicates a person who has fully allowed the gospel to change their life is somebody who has mastered repentance. That when they're confronted with sin, they don't push it to the side. They don't ignore it. They don't make excuses for it. They acknowledge it. They let that godly grief, as we talked about 2 weeks ago, sit in their heart. And they allow that godly grief to change who they are and their behaviors.